Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. Tearing out a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because there's one more retro gaming Christmas treat out there for 2024 before we move into the new year. Sonic Robo Blast 2, at least the first area, has been ported over to the Sega 32X, and if you're expecting a Sonic game in 3D on the 32X this year, you're going to be happily surprised because it is here. It's definitely a demo. It's a 0.01 version of the game, but what is on offer here is absolutely wild to see running on the 32X. And this is from the game's co-creators, SSN Tales, as well as Saxman and a bunch of other people who I'll show their names in the credits at the end of the video. But seeing Sonic in 3D on the 32X is something we always hoped for back in the day, and now that is a reality, at least in prototype form. Before you get far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. Now Sonic Robo Blast 2 is basically a PC game that plays around with the idea of what if Sonic was in 3D back in the 32X and Saturn eras, at least for me, and now it actually runs on real hardware. I do have a 32X and I did test this momentarily. It was not in my capture setup, but it did run on my flash card. Additionally, I was able to load it up on MiSTer FPGA, but it does have some freezing issues here and there. Not sure if that's because of the MiSTer implementation or if it's because of the actual just prototype nature of the game. So I am playing some of this on Kega Fusion and some of it on MiSTer. But what is being displayed here is nothing short of amazing in my opinion. The frame rate definitely isn't as fast as the original game, but the fact that the 32X is rendering a fully realized 3D-esque world with Sonic enemies and all of the physics intact in and of itself is just something you don't expect. To be very well aware that you can drown in water, so that same water-based Sonic anxiety is going to be here in this new version of the game as well, and I know some people hate that, myself included. From being a kid, watching Sonic drown always made me want to get out of the water about as fast as possible. But this is just an impressive technical showcase from start to finish. This is a quote-unquote 3D world. Sure, it's more using the Doom engine style of 3D, where it is kind of some trickery, but to our eyes, we really can't tell the difference whatsoever. And the fact that it runs this fast and looks this good as a prototype on the 32X in and of itself is just a technical accomplishment. This is probably the most impressive thing on the 32X now, outside of the Doom Resurrection mod that now uses the 32X as well as the Sega CD and base Genesis to make that game the best version of Doom on a console I've ever played from that generation. And as far as the physics are concerned, apparently they've been slightly rewritten for the 32X. It does take a minute to get used to how floaty Sonic is and how he moves and accelerates, but honestly you'll get there pretty quickly, and this demo from start to finish is only about 9 minutes, so it's one of those things you will get used to it and you can just play it time and time again. And I really do hope to see this thing get finished and the entirety of the game brought over to the 32X in 2025, because that platform does have more power than developers really realized back in the day or spent time actually making, and it's one of those things, there is more to eke out of the 32X than people realize, and hopefully developers continue to make projects like this. Because the reality is, does the 32X need a version of Sonic Robo Blast 2 on it? It definitely does not, but I absolutely love seeing these things because it gives us a new way to view antiquated hardware through a new lens, making you realize that the 32X could just do things you never thought possible before. Now moving into Green Flower Zone 2, definitely try to pick up some speed in this one to get a sensation of just how fast the engine is. Yes, it's running at a reduced frame rate and some of the resolutions on the textures have been halved, but this is still a visual feast, and the game will definitely have you slow down sometimes as well. This moving platform here seems to be on a global cycle, so you can wait for it because there are power-ups in this game and the demo that you definitely want to collect. Every once in a while, some of the Z priority seems to get a little bit weird there, like those rings are not actually going into that object, but that might just be something to do with how the 32X actually processes those. But I love that the ring array there felt like it was in 3D as well. You do have a spin dash, you want to use it every once in a while, and now we have the magnetic ability, so every ring is going to home into us on this game. And I would say that it's definitely not the most difficult thing in the world. You do have your spin jump homing attack as well, so if you're in the air and you hit jump again, you will hone in on your enemies just like you would in something like Sonic Adventure. And there's not a ton of enemies, but there is a robotic boss fight at the end of the demo, and that's going to be a ton of fun as well. But this game has a great soundtrack, and it also sounds amazing coming out of the 32X, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and I'll come back, show you the rest of the demo, and explain why it is a technical showcase for the ages. But enjoy! Absolutely awesome soundtrack, and it sounds great coming out of the 32X hardware. And again, if you have a flash card, you can load this thing up and play it this Christmas. It's going to take you 10 minutes from start to finish. It's the best 10 minutes on the 32X in 2024 outside of something like Doom Resurrection. And again, it just shows that there's so much more life in the 32X than people give it credit for. This is a platform I would love to see more fan developments on in 2025, because Sega basically fired this thing out into the world and abandoned it almost directly afterwards for the Sega Saturn. And the 32X, while being a very complicated piece of architecture on the silicon side and not having a ton of support, definitely has more power in it than you would think, and a game like this definitely shows that off. Just do be aware that sometimes you're going to be trying to figure out where to go next. Sonic's here tapping his foot, and I do love that he actually does that in his sprite. They have all those fun animations in there. So turn around, look for some springs if you get stuck, and you'll be able to progress. And I'm not even showing you some of the hidden areas in this demo as well. There's more to discover than just what I'm showing you. I'm basically taking the main course throughout the game, but there are some alternate paths where you're going to find some more fun stuff on. And again, I just love these type of projects, seeing hardware used in a modern era. There's so many new SDKs and development tools for Sega hardware. You really can develop for these things in a modern way versus having to do it back in the mid 90s. And I'm sure in the next couple of years you're going to see a lot more stuff come to the 32X, because it seems like people are very curious about how the platform works and what else it can bring to the Sega Genesis. I want to see a lot more 32X stuff in 2025, especially utilizing the entire Tower of Power like we saw in Doom Resurrection. I think we can get some absolutely epic games out of it. But one more soundtrack sample, because the music for the Robotnik boss fight is great. 30 seconds and I'll be right back and show you how the demo ends. Awesome soundtrack and sound effects there, and I would say maybe some of the sound effects are ever so slightly loud and clipping the channels, but again, this is just a prototype, nothing I would ever critique, because it is a work in progress, and just being able to run around this world on the 32X in full 3D 100% does it for me. Being able to stomp on the plunger here at the end and seeing all of the animals come out is just something that we've seen in so many different Sonic games, but it's so much fun to see it happen here on the 32X with Sonic Robo Blast 2. And again, I love the combination of this game slowing you down as well as letting you go fast. It really does work in the same way that something like Sonic Adventure does, where there are those areas where you have to move slowly and those rings there looking like true 3D. It's just an effect that looks great. It's so effective, and it's fun to see the 32X getting more life, because it absolutely does deserve it. Let's just show you guys some of the developers on the way out, and I'll say what I want to see in this project in the future, because it is so much fun. I just want to see this entire thing completed. I want a full 3D Sonic game on the 32X. It just feels like the type of thing that would be so much fun to play and experience, because that's what we thought we were getting back in the day. We thought we were going to see a 3D Sonic on the 32X. We thought we were going to see a 3D Sonic on the Sega Saturn with Sonic Extreme, and we got absolutely none of that whatsoever. We had to wait for the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure to actually get our proper 3D Sonic game, and while that was amazing, I wish we had got some stuff previous to that. And again, if you want to play this, you can play it on real hardware with a flash card. You can play it in the MiSTer FPGA core, but you might encounter some crashing issues, and you can play it in Kega Fusion as well. But definitely check it out this holiday season. It takes 10 minutes to see the entirety of the demo, and it's some of the most impressive stuff on a Sega platform this year. But we are done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have played the game, leave me your thoughts down below. But hope you had a great Christmas, and I hope you have a happy new year coming up. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.